The worst cases I've ever heard was from the Exodus of New York City. The woman, a young girl, Juilliard, a violinist, and she was about to graduate. She was brilliantly talented, but all of her friends were getting job offers and she had none. And her friends remember always hearing her say the words, "I would do anything to be famous." Well, guess who's listening? It wasn't long after that she went to bed one night, had a dream, and she said in the dream was the most beautiful man she'd ever seen, naked, another sign, calling card of the devil. And he said, "You really want fame and power?" And she said, "I do." And he produced a contract, and he took his finger and slashed her finger and had her sign it in her blood. And then he touched the contract and it burst into flames and the ashes fell on the floor. So pretty easy to understand what happened, right? But what's worse is her finger was cut and the ashes were next to the bed. So within a couple of weeks, she signs this multinational tour, makes a ton of money, becomes very popular and famous on this circuit. And within a few years, she gets involved with drugs, goes to needles, gets HIV. Now she's dying in a New York hospital. And this whole thing comes back to how this started. And she calls her Filipino mother and tells her the story. And mommy calls the chancery. "I need an exorcist right away for my daughter." So Jim is the exorcist. He shows up and they tell him the whole story from the dream forward. And he says, "Okay, well, that's not good. You signed a blood covenant with the devil. So I'm going to need you to break that with the blood covenant. So you're going to write out the whole creed and then you're going to sign it in your blood." Well, the doctor's like, "She has AIDS. She's not signing anything in blood. Not going to happen." And he says, "Well, then you need to step out of the room because she needs to do this." And she did do it. And she signed the contract, the creed, and she convulses and flatlines and dies. So now the doctor comes back and he's really upset. The mother is out of her mind. They're all blaming the priest. Hysteria goes on for about 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden she jumps up off the table. She's back. And they test her. No HIV, no AIDS. She's completely healed. She then committed for the rest of her life to only do music that would honor God and to tell people about the reality of the devil and not to make deals with him.